Hello everybody, welcome back to 7 Days to Die. We are here experimenting with the new alpha. We're just doing a few tests, see what does and doesn't work. Thank you. I can't see the notifications. I'm sure it will pop up right about here somewhere. Anyway, I have done a few experiments, but I also went through the comments of the last video. There was a lot of views on the video. A lot of people wanted to see what could be done in this alpha. So I did a couple of things that people asked about or suggested or whatever. There were a few other comments of people saying things like, oh, why a cheese base? Honestly, dude, the comment's really not needed. Cheese bases exist because some people like to use them. And some people don't have a choice in the settings that are on there. If you're playing on a server, and you may not ever play on a server, and that's fine. But if you play on a server, you may want one of those for, say, you're on day, I don't know, 190 something, and you came in with a friend. And that friend has barely enough ammo to take care of the horde on their own. So not only are you getting two people's hordes, you're on an advanced game stage and you don't have enough ammo, and maybe for one night you need a cheese base to help one person survive. There are new people to this game all of the time. If it wasn't for Jawoodle and his killing corridor, I probably would have never survived long enough to understand the mechanics of the game, much less wanted to play it again. So first off, to Jawoodle and the killing corridor, thank you. And secondly, you don't have to leave that on every single video that somebody makes a cheese base. We know. And I'm not even saying that this is going to show up in Mayhem, because it's probably not. It's a good base to help you learn the game. Just understand that not everybody plays your way. This is not politics, this is not religion. Nobody has to believe the way you do, and it's still a game and it can still be fun. And just roll with it. I mean, come on, it's a game! Please don't turn this into religion and politics. Games don't have to be played one way. It's a role-playing game for a reason. Anyway, that having been said, and I do apologize for anybody who did not want to hear that, because most of you were like, hey, that's cool, let's try an experiment and see what the zombies do, and others are like, cheese. Dude, I love cheese. All different kinds of cheese. Maybe not so much on my base anymore because I've gotten a little further past it, but there were things that I did learn about zombie AI that I did not know before using these methods. It's not just about building a cheese base, it's learning the zombies. The Fun Pimps didn't build them for us to just stare at them and say, oh, you need a bullet. They designed them to have an artificial intelligence of their own, and our goal is to crack the AI and figure out how they think. If you're in a zombie apocalypse, you're going to want to know how your zombie thinks. And that is how you survive, and that is how I'm playing it. If I know how my zombie works, I know how to fight it. I may not use any of these bases, but knowing which blocks do and don't work shows me how I can design something. Just remember that. Not all of this has to be about the cheese. Some of it's just about the blocks. You don't want to not want to build a cheese base, but accidentally build one because you didn't know the zombies couldn't path over it. So keep your minds open. Okay, I had a few recommendations. I put signs on there so I wouldn't have to go back and show the comments or go back and read the comments. So I put everybody on there. I hope you don't mind that your name appears on here. If you mind that your name appears on a video, I would prefer if you probably use an AI to comment, because this might become a more frequent thing that I put them on the build that I'm working on. That way I will have it in front of me while I'm working on it. Okay, all of that intro aside, geez, that was a long intro. Okay, first one was Sparrowhawk. He said use bars, and he was referring to this base over here, because at the end of the last episode, we did, jeez, get the sign out of your hand. We had an issue with the zombies are sinking down, you couldn't barely see their heads, and the dogs were destroying the bars. So, destroying the plates. So he said possibly use bars so you can still shoot at them. And that does work. The zombie dogs will still get stuck, and somebody pointed out in the comments that it's because zombies take up 2 blocks, whereas the other zombies take up 1, which is good to note whenever you're designing a base. And I would assume that since the spider zombies are about the same, they would take up 2 blocks as well. Good to know. Okay, so this idea does in fact work. Now the issue is of course zombies can occasionally make it over. They will occasionally break the bars. And I had someone tell me, if you have to fix it, it's not a true killing corridor. Have you never used a killing corridor? It does get damaged. Especially if there's a demolisher, especially if anything else happens, like the zombies get funneled up through here, they'll beat on your walls, they'll beat on these things right here as they fall through. A killing corridor is not flawless. You still have to do the upkeep on it. So yeah, they might destroy one block, but then they'll get to the next block, and it's very easy to replace these. Iron has, what, 1,000 hit points? I think so, 1,000 hit points, so they would be very easy to replace as long as you're keeping up with your iron. This is doable. Then we go over to... I came over here because I just wanted to see... Somebody was asking about doing a 45-degree angle, and there used to be a corner block that I was looking for, but it also brought up the question of whether or not these other blocks are not paths or not. Because I found out the hard way, bars are not considered a path. And I wanted to make sure that the blocks that I was using are considered a path, and these blocks, these are the fourth blocks. One of them centered, one is this, it's like the half, and these blocks right here can be made with the wet concrete or with the wood. Yeah, you can upgrade wood, but you have to have the saw, which is really not useful for very much except for those pieces that the fun pimps don't want people using. These included. You can make them with the wet concrete, or you can upgrade them from the wood. You can't actually get those from like the reinforced frames or nothing like that. You have to get it from the wet concrete and then reinforce up to there. But these are considered a path, and something I did note over here is the height difference didn't cause them to jump right here. They just ran across and walked up it like a step. It was interesting to note. Now maybe if I had to put it on the opposite side, they probably would have had to jump. Not really sure, but it was good to note that they didn't have to jump on here, because while they're jumping, there's a chance for them to err and fall off, which is what I was looking for. Now, Scott Freeman said, try and put the base at a 45-degree angle from where it starts and then come back at you. He did say that he was playing an earlier version on the console, and the zombies do work different from one alpha to another alpha, so the base that works on console will not work in this alpha. But it did get me thinking about the 45-degree angle, and oddly enough, zombies do not see a 45-degree angle. This right here is not considered a path for them, and I don't know why. I even built this right here to make sure it was like not too far away. Let's get a couple of DDs in here. It's Liz's laboratory. I have to have some DDs. There. And I will even turn off the hovering and run back around a little bit. Just like this, to try and get them to come over here. If I hadn't have been trying this idea, I would have never known this about the zombie AI. This is not considered a path. If you built something like this inside your ward base and you didn't want a cheese base, that is cheese, guys. That is a whole tub of Swiss cheese right there. I did not know this. I had no idea that this was not considered it. How it's useful, I really don't know. I'm pretty sure there are probably some applications. Maybe if you're trying to get away from a zombie group, you could probably, I don't know, because this does not support this. Like, this block right here is not supporting this block. It has to be built from the ground. They're not considered supports. So I don't know how this information is useful, but it was something I didn't know. They don't see that as a path. So while it was not useful for building a horde base, while it was not useful for building a horde base, it was useful knowledge nonetheless. And then I had Curse Summer said space the wedges out, because the wedges do still work, but the pathing is different now. And I tried it like this. I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about. He kind of left it vague. So I guess that when I was experimenting, I could figure it out on my own. I tried it this way, figuring maybe that they would slide to the outside, and these would cause them to try and jump, and they would fall off. But one or two DDs, and it works fine. The faster ones are the hardest ones to get to fall, but as you can see, she's still grabbing a hold to it. That one's falling. They're still beating on stuff. But the issue is when you bring in a lot of them. So, let me not stare at my own boobs. Hang on, I'm just fascinated by them. If you bring in a lot of them, say a horde night, and it's actually very interesting to watch them work their way across. Hold on, some of them are getting distracted by other things. Get over here. They will slowly work their way across. And the reason I think that works is because they're actually standing on each other to get through it. The dogs are the same way. 1 or 2 dogs, this works perfectly. They will fall. You get a whole group of dogs, or if you mix them in with people, they will stand on each other and make it through a base like this. So I'm not really sure how to change that. I mean, definitely you could upgrade the bars. You could put in extra bars. You can change the slits. I mean, in any way, getting them to jump is the easiest way to get them to fall, is what I've found. Which is the reason why I put the bars across there to begin with, is to force them to jump. But it was inconsistent. They were still making it across when there was high numbers. This one over here was Bob the Lost. He said the cookie cutter works now, just space them out. And it works. But one dog made it during the 25 count dog. So, hold on, let me summon my boobs. Let me summon my boobs. I hope everybody appreciated that. Okay, let's do these. Let's get way back over here. And we'll give this one a try real quick. And these guys can make it all the way up here, but none has actually made it to the platform with me. And just so you know, the water down at the bottom was not necessary to make this at all. I was hoping to stop them from raging, but I don't think the water's thick enough. Not to mention in a day-to-day game, it is hard to get this amount of water. It would be easier to use hay. Yep. The zombie ragdoll effect is so great. But yeah, this works. Y'all keep running the gauntlet. I want to... Let's see... Zombie dog. I hit it twice. Sure, let's do that many zombies, because that should affect my frame rate really well. They don't even know what to do. I've got 14 frames. Hang on. I did the wrong. Everybody stop. My computer can't handle that many zombies. It's going to crash me. Okay, so let me do that again. Let me just do one group of 25. You guys come over here. And during my last experience, only one dog made it across, and I think it was kind of a fluke. He jumped on somebody else. Anybody who's ever worked with a killing corridor, there's at least one zombie during a horde that will somehow or another make it across to you. Whether it's a spider zombie, a dog that got boosted at the wrong time, just regular physics. See, that guy jumped on that guy and nearly made it up here. Okay, but it is pretty consistent. It works very well, so the cookie cutter thing does work when you space them further out so they have a chance to slide. The cookie cutter is the wet, let's see, you can do it with the wet concrete. It's the concrete wedge steep corner blocks, the same one we used before, but you place them back to back and on opposite sides. Okay, I'm gonna say that one works. It definitely works. The cookie cutter works as long as there is extra space in between. I didn't try it with them spaced normally, but I would assume it'd work the same as the wedges, as they would not get through. So this one right here definitely works. If there was a way of... I tried using the barbed wire right here to see if I could slow them down long enough to shoot them. The issue is it caused all of them to clump up right here and start beating on the wall. But I put it out here, and it worked on slowing them down. They had to jump a little bit to try and get over it, and I could shoot them a little bit easier, but I think with this particular base, like, the electric fences would probably work the best. And maybe even a longer running platform before they hit these. And the reason I say that is because the killing corridor isn't about just letting the zombies cycle through. They will eventually get bored and start beating on stuff. They always do. Or they'll hit rage mode because they got damaged by something. Another zombie will smack the zombie booty, and they'll start beating on stuff. So a slightly longer corridor there would give you a chance to actually shoot them to end the cycle of zombies. So those are the ones that I worked on, but I was kind of curious about what happened with this. And of course this was like the mainstay of people wanting to keep zombies off of their actual base, and they basically just claim it like anything. I mean, they really tear it up. Instead of doing 25, we don't actually need that many. Let's do this many because they will definitely overwhelm pretty quick. I hear so many footsteps there. I put the bars up hoping that they would, you know, see, now they're breaking stuff. They actually beat on them. Before, the slats, this method worked because not only were the zombies sliding off of it, they didn't beat on it. At least not very often. Not enough to break a block unless there was, like, so many it was overwhelming. But it would hold up for a long time, especially if you upgraded it. Now? Nope. It's not gonna work. Not going to... Get down, Dee Dee. Okay, it's just not going to work. I hear footsteps. Oh. Okay, stop that. Alright, so this is the next group of things. There were some interesting things that I learned. This is the most puzzling right here. Whenever I first started and he said the 40-degree angle, first off, I added these blocks in, hoping that they wouldn't just run across it, which they do. You would have to alternate it with different blocks in order to get them to do the jump, so I added the bars. And then I did this, and then I was going to stand over here. And they simply did not see it as a path at all, which is so incredibly weird. I don't know how this is useful, really. I don't know if it is useful. But it wasn't something I was thinking of, you know what I'm saying? It's not something I was expecting. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is what I've got done today. I tried to be as quick about it as I possibly could. Even though the intro was a little bit long, I'm pretty sure anybody who's ever posted a video that include any type of cheese base has to deal with comments like that. I don't know why people feel the need to post them, because everybody knows it's a cheese base. Period. Nobody's denying that. Yeah, you could turn the zombies off, you could put it on easy, you could go into God mode. Not everybody plays single player. I do feel sorry that you have never been a part of a server before, but not everybody has control over a server. And some people want to slowly warm up into a game they have never experienced before. And I am sorry if you don't understand what it's like to try a new game and want to slowly dip your toes in instead of go at it full force. That sounded all wrong. I do apologize. That was not the way it was supposed to be. But, the killing corridor helped me learn the game, and if I hadn't had the killing corridor, I probably would have given up on the game after the first couple of times a zombie tore apart my entire base after working on it for an entire week. I would not have understood the zombie mechanics. I wouldn't have had a chance to gather up supplies or anything. So don't judge people because they're learning their way or playing their way. This is a game. That's how it's supposed to be. That's what makes this game so fun, is everybody can play their way. And the worst part is to have someone else judge them. Honestly, you shouldn't be judging. I'm sorry to say that, because it sounds like I'm judging you for judging somebody in the comments, but, just don't. I mean, you could say it in your head, just don't say it in the comments, and okay. Don't judge other people, there's no reason for it. It's a video game. We're not cheesing, real life here. This is just a game. Let people play the way they want to. That's all I've got to say. I've heard way too much of that, and I really don't understand the purpose in it. If you are starting out in this game, let me talk directly to you. Your first couple of Horde nights. Now, I don't know the new AI. I have not actually experienced a full-on Horde in this alpha. There are supposed to be some AI changes, but there are a couple of things that are usually true to the beginning part of a Horde. When you are starting out, usually a POI is all that you need. Give yourself a couple of spots where you can shoot bad guys and fall back. Trapdoors work really well. Over here we have the trapdoor. The trapdoors right here. If you turn them the other way and it's easier to... Actually, I wasn't planning on doing this, but since we're talking about it. If there is anybody who is learning the game and you want a base that will help you out at the beginning part... let me do hatch. Let me just do that. And these are the easiest ones because if you've noticed by looking at the metal ones, they don't have the handle on it, so it's hard to tell which way it's opening. But if you do something like this, you can stand on this side of it. I'll make that out of my hand because you probably can't see it anymore. You can stand on this side, up a hallway, upstairs, in a doorway to the building that you're at, or whatever, and you can stand on this side, and it takes a while for the zombies to get through. If you upgrade this to metal, I think it has like 1,000 hit points, and that's pretty strong for the first couple of hordes. Day 7 and day 14, the hordes aren't that strong. And you can use a POI to, basically, it gives them a place to come after you, you get a chance to fight the horde, and it's not tearing up your actual base. You can go ahead and start working on your base, bring all your supplies there, but then the horde night, come over, set up a POI you don't plan on raiding again. I would say a couple of blocks away from your actual base. You don't want them spawning inside your base or tearing through a wall through your base to get to you. Try and do it a couple of POIs away from your actual base. Then use one of these. You can run through it. Say you are running down the street and you go inside. You do like that. You pop that up and the zombies are right behind you and you can shoot. Or smack them, or whatever, however you want to do it. This is actually a good melee technique. And then you give yourself another place later on in the POI where the same setup is. Make sure that when you're doing it, that you don't allow the zombies to hop over it, because it's just like any other block. They can jump over these. Put a block above it so that they can't do that. That is my tip for a beginning horde. If you don't want to use cheese, that is entirely okay. You don't have to. There are other methods. All I was trying to do was try and figure out a method that the Fun Pimps said that they fixed. And, well, yes, that's awesome that the Fun Pimps fixed something that originally in the game was broken. These blocks over here were never meant to be something that could be used as an exploit. But also, at the same time, Fun Pimps, you have done an amazing job on this update. But let me caution you as a player and as a new player to your game. I only got in on the last alpha. I haven't been here since 2012, 2013, whenever this game first came out. First off, remember during all of your updates and your fixing of glitches and stuff that there are new players coming to the game. Giving them a couple of things to help them out to learn the game better during a horde is not a bad idea. Maybe not fix every exploit in the game. Maybe allow them a couple to allow new players to learn. Also, if you want people to enjoy the horde, make the reward so much better than it is. You don't have to bring back decaying bodies for people to have to break up for 5,000 years. Just make the loot drops better. If you're facing down a horde, you should not be getting water in that thing. And third, and this is just because I think the final alpha will probably be out in the next couple of years, as long as some people have been playing this game, and as much as they enjoy it and as many new players as you are getting, whenever it finally comes down to writing the story, don't half-ass it. Please don't half-ass it. You have got a huge fan base on this game. If you are not confident in your writers to do a good storyline, put out a contest. I bet you there are some writers in your fan base. And you could probably find somebody. Just a thought. That's me rambling. I am going to end it here. I'm pretty sure the Fun Pimps are probably never going to see those comments, but just in case, sometime in the future they might see it. Hopefully it's before the final alpha, because this is an incredibly fun game, and I'm hoping the final alpha, the final version of the game, is going to be something people are going to want to play for a long time. That is it for Liz's Laboratory and 7 Days to Die. We are done playing with Dee Dee for the day, and I will see you next time. You have a wonderful day, a wonderful night, and you stay shiny. Bye!